Um, Disappointed, kind of dejected, and it was kind of frustrating because how good we are and how good we can be is really frustrating to know that we keep losing games, especially tight ones that we're in. And so obviously it wasn't like the loss of the Ravens and where they kind of overpowered us, but it's kind of like every game of this year. It's like we're there and then we slip, we're there, we got penalties, we're there, we just can't punch it in. So it's been the message is kind of like we got to figure it out because that's the time of the year that we're at because we have 7 more games left of the year and it's like we got to get going. So really, we just got to figure it out.
Does it feel like there's a disconnect somewhere? Because you mentioned the talent and then just not following through with the win.
Uh, I wouldn't say it's more so of a disconnect. I just say we're just not putting it together. I mean, we have the pieces, we have the players, we have the coaches to do it. It's just, I guess, discipline and getting it done. Really, we know we can do. We've been saying it for the beginning of the year, but it's a difference from actually doing it and saying it. So um, we can't talk anymore. That's really the only thing we have to actually do it. And going the work week, we really have to get to it, and then starting off hot when it comes up Sunday.
Is one of the keys not looking at the big picture or the record and just focusing in, all we can do is win one, and that can be the start of the turnaround?
Yeah. Well, that should always be the focus. I mean, once we look at playoffs, and then that's where you kind of lose focus. And there's never a big picture when you look at the big picture. I feel like if you handle just what you have in front of you, that's the biggest piece. And what we have right now is looking at the Rams, focusing on the Rams, and I feel like that just handles itself. If we just look at one game at a time, and so I feel like if we just focus on that, then we'll be fine. No focusing on playoffs, division, anything like that. Because once we do that, then we start losing games like we are right now. So it's really just focus on this game, and that's just the Rams.
How much of the conversation is on the Rams and what they do well, or where areas that you can attack versus just what needs to be fixed
Yeah,
within yourselves?
yeah. And obviously, I mean, a lot of times we say that we beat ourselves, and so obviously we're playing a Rams team who just came off the Super Bowl, but they're struggling too. But they have great guys. You got Bobby Wagner, you got Aaron Donald. They have outside. You got Jalen Ramsey, and so they got a lot of star power out there. But at the end of the day, they put their pants on just like we do. So we definitely have to go out there and come out hot. That's kind of like something that Cam said. After the game is just coming out hot. When you talked about the message, he said, we have to come out hot from the very beginning because we know how to finish. I mean, it's just like obviously, we're behind on games and then we have to play catch up, and it's just like, man, like we could have did. It's about starting out hot from the jump. So yes, they have a good team and they're struggling as well, but the thing is we're struggling too. So it's really just getting to it.
Did Cam address the team after the game?
Yeah, yeah, and that was kind of the message. Obviously, he said this is things that he's never, really used to. It's just like this it's just not the Saints way. I mean, it's just not us losing like this, and so it's very different. Us as players and us as competitors, we don't like losing. So losing is not in anybody's nature. We always want to win. So us losing like this isn't fun.
What's
A lot of players have said they're not worried about the locker room staying together because they have the right guys. Are there any guys in particular that kind of stepped up as leaders throughout all of this?
Yeah, obviously, you got guys like DeMario, Cam. Alvin has been really good for us. I feel like Alvin has been a guy who's always been a leader behind without having a C on his chest. But I feel like this year he's really stepped up and been really, really vocal for us, and that's been huge for us, and especially as an offense. He's been huge for us. So letting us know that he has sort of that thing that everybody's been talking about lately is that swagger. He's kind of been the culprit of all of that, and being that guy that we go to war with. So him being up there saying what he says is kind of big for us.
What's DA been like? This is obviously his first year as y'all's head coach.
Yeah, I mean he's been great. I mean obviously it's difficult to be in a situation that he's in right now with 3-7, but he's handled it well. And I think the biggest thing he's been good with us about is just like having fun with it. Because I feel like a lot of guys when you get in a situation like this, you're pressed too much, and so he's been good about just having fun with it, like do this like you were as if you were a kid, which we are. Like, we're a bunch of kids getting paid to do this game, and so it's kind of weird to think about it, but he's been really good about it. And I think, we could all be behind a guy like that who knows how this whole thing works. So, us being behind him, not just playing for him, but playing for each other and playing for our families. But it's been great having him to be so composed about this whole thing and not, scattering and looking for answers and things like that. He's been really good about it.
Just to follow up, and even, like, does that help make sure there's no finger pointing or kind of, like, things could unravel if you don't have maybe that mindset?
Yeah, and I feel like that's the biggest thing about a leader, him being our head coach and knowing that he's not scattered or, not composed or out of whack is going to make us feel out of whack because he's our head coach. He is essentially our leader. So knowing a guy who's composed, who is not okay with losing, but is embracing the challenge that he has before him and knowing that we're going to be all good. You don't have to panic, and we just have to win games. He knows the fact. We just have to win. And so once we win, he understands the challenge, and we just have to face it.
Thanks, Juwan.
Absolutely.